Hello everybody and welcome back. In this lecture we will talk about the DICOM format. DICOM, which stands for Digital Imaging and Communication in Medicine, is, according to the official definition, the international standard for medical images and related information. It defines the formats for medical images that can be exchanged with the data and quality necessary for clinical use. Now that you know what DICOM actually stands for and what it means, let's talk about how DICOM is used in the medical field. DICOM is a file format for medical images which allows storing and sharing of those images. As you will see later, it does not only capture the sole image, but a lot of additional data. This standardized file format allows the communication between medical imaging devices. Thus, most medical imaging data in hospitals are stored in this file format. And you can be quite sure that if you get some medical imaging procedure taken, that your images are actually stored as DICOM files. In order to understand this file format, you can imagine a treasure box where the box itself acts as the DICOM header and the treasure within the box is the actual image. This, in fact, visualizes the structure of each DICOM file. The header contains all relevant information about the procedure taken, including but not limited to the device information, as an example, which modality or what scanner, all relevant patient information such as age or sex, a unique study ID and series ID to be able to map the scan to a particular patient, and all relevant image information such as shape or slice thickness. And finally, the body, our treasure, contains the image. So, let's take a look at an example header in more detail. Each entry in the DICOM header is accessible by its unique data tag. This allows automatic extraction of desired pieces of information like the age of a patient. All header entries follow the same structure. First, the unique data tag, which describes the property. Then, some human-readable explanation, e.g. for our tag 0018, 0015, the examined body part. And finally, the corresponding value, which is chest in this example. Unfortunately, because DICOM is such a complex standard, it can be confusing. Typically, each hospital has its own vendor-specific adaptations implemented via so-called private tags in the header. Most of the time, 3D volumes are stored as multiple 2D DICOM files, each file consisting of a single 2D slice. Therefore, we as developers are responsible for assembling the individual slices in the correct order. Sometimes the file extensions might vary and you need to make sure that the files you are working with are actually DICOM files. All those points above are the reason that DICOMs are mainly used in a clinical setting, and to conduct research or to work with those files, we often convert them into other formats. But of course, those small problems do not keep us from working in the exciting field of medical imaging. There are great Python libraries such as PyDICOM and SimpleITK, which allow us to easily handle DICOM files in Python. However, if you simply want to examine your files, you don't need to write code for that, but you can simply use a free-to-use slicing program such as the 3D slicer. Finally, the last point I want to mention in this lecture is patient privacy. If you are working in a clinical setting, you absolutely need to anonymize all DICOM files before publishing them to protect the rights and the privacy of the patients. Because, as we learned earlier, a DICOM file contains extremely sensible information about all patients. Now, after learning what DICOM files are and how they look like, it is time to get our hands dirty and actually work with DICOM files in Python. Thanks!